In recent years, the world has seen a rise in conflicts that, while not resembling the global wars of the past, bear some troubling similarities. From the war in Ukraine to the civil unrest in Sudan and the tensions in the Middle East, these regional conflicts are drawing in the world's superpowers in a way that suggests a broader, interconnected struggle. Yet, the question remains, are we witnessing the beginning of a new world war, or are these conflicts simply extensions of unresolved tensions from the past? Unlike the large-scale, direct military confrontations of the 20th century, today's conflicts are more complex and dispersed. Russia's invasion of Ukraine, for example, has not only destabilized Europe, but has also drawn in global actors like NATO and countries like China and Iran, which are aligned with Russia. Though the fighting is centered in Ukraine, its consequences reverberate across the globe, affecting international relations, economies, and global security. The situation in Ukraine could easily escalate, with the involvement of superpowers raising the stakes. Africa is also grappling with severe conflict, particularly in Sudan, where internal factions are vying for control. The resulting violence has displaced millions and further destabilized the region. Despite international efforts to resolve the crisis, the civil war rages on, demonstrating that these regional conflicts are often resistant to outside intervention. What may seem like isolated incidents of violence are usually deeply rooted in the broader global power dynamics, where superpowers subtly influence outcomes through political and military support. These conflicts can often be traced back to historical tensions, particularly during World War eras. For example, the borders drawn by colonial powers in the Middle East after the First World War created fault lines that have led to decades of instability. Even now, the ongoing rivalry between the United States and Iran, as well as Russia's involvement in the region, reflects unresolved geopolitical tensions that have been festering for over a century. The rise of new powers like China further complicates this already volatile region, as it seeks to expand its influence through economic and military means. The situation in West Asia, especially the conflict between Israel and Iran, adds another layer of complexity. The US has long supported Israel, while Iran has aligned itself with Russia and China. The resulting proxy wars, much like the conflict in Ukraine, are part of a broader competition for global dominance. What makes these conflicts particularly dangerous is the potential for them to escalate into larger confrontations that could draw in nuclear-armed states. The question of whether these conflicts represent the beginning of World War III is difficult to answer. On the surface, they do not resemble the massive, global wars of the past. However, the dynamics of proxy wars, cyber warfare, economic sanctions, and indirect military engagement suggest that we may be witnessing a new form of global conflict. The world is no longer defined by clear alliances and direct confrontations between superpowers, but rather by a complex web of regional wars, political maneuvering, and technological competition. These conflicts may not be called World War III, but the risks of escalation and the involvement of major powers make them just as perilous. Ultimately, the global power struggle is unfolding in new, unpredictable ways, with regional conflicts acting as battlegrounds for influence among the world's superpowers. Whether or not we label this a world war, the stakes are higher than ever, and the consequences of miscalculation could be catastrophic.